Okay, if you joined us earlier on the show, you heard from Tajuddin Ibrahim, the head of research at Chapel Hill Denham, saying there's a likely repricing or correction of the yield curve on Nigeria's money market instruments the second half of the year on the back of inflation, Nigeria's current account deficit, and impact on FX and our import bills. All of that, let me throw it to Chima Udu, who is joining us from FMDQ Exchange Place. She's a fixed income dealer at GT Bank. She's joining us for this conversation. The treasury bills market or fixed income market was a bit active yesterday, the second trading day of the week, where we saw open market operations finishing 135 transactions for 156.6 billion naira. Choma Udu, good morning. It's good to have you here from GT Bank.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. So what's your view on the yield curve right now? We spoke to the head of research at Chapel Hill earlier and says there's a likely repricing or correction in the yield curve from the second half, or in the second half of the year, perhaps June, July also. Do you think there will be a repricing, a correction, likely?
I don't think it's impossible that there will be a reprice in the yield curve, because currently inflation is about 11.98, and then investment rates in the market is 4% on the primary markets, which gives you a negative yield curve. But this is happening because of the liquidity we have in the system. Coming in today, the market opened about 700 billion up. We have the interesting thing today in today's trading market is that we have a bond auction where the DMO is offering 155 billion across street tenors. It's basically a retap. At the last auction, at the last bond auction, we saw rates close as high as 13%, but we expect a moderation of rates today across all tenors because of the liquidity we have in the system.
Okay, between now and then, between now and the end of the first half, where we may see a correction in the yield curve. So how is the current yield curve being played at GT Bank? How are you guys positioning your investment within the current new yield curve and market dynamics and rebalancing, as it were, as everyone is trying to take a second look at all the instruments, all the assets on our market street and try to position to make some gains, make money as fund managers?
4%. So you see investors looking at other investment opportunities, which includes promissory notes, capital markets, and then other and commercial papers. We've also seen banks, try to lend, especially to the retail space where you can get rates as high as 16%, and also try to take advantage of the needs in the market and push out those funds. But for the yield curve, it's on the moderation pace, where because of the liquidity we have seen in the system.
Okay, how are you looking at commercial bonds, papers in your playbook?
Well, usually for commercial papers, it's offered to blue chip companies, which means the risk is not as high as we think. So we've seen rates trend as about 7 to 8%. We've seen interest from investors because you're lending to blue chip companies. So we've seen a lot of surge because of the liquidity in the market. Because of the liquidity in the market, I beg your pardon. So we've seen a lot of interest. Rates is trending at about 6 to 7% on commercial papers.
So
right now,
when there's liquidity, Choma, you and I know that the currency, the LCY, that's the current local currency unit, usually gets a bit of a knock, as it were. So check that through for us.
Well, I agree with you because we have a lot of local currency chasing the naira. But what is happening in the market is that coming into this year, we saw a lot of investors, foreign investors, have interest into the market. So we saw FX liquidity in the market. FX liquidity has continued to maintain the market as FX rates are currently at 362.5. And then the central bank has continued to support through their interventions, the retail, the wholesale, and then the SME and invisible. So we have seen liquidity in the system. Rates is currently at 362.5 on the I&E window.
Very interesting. So what's your call for today? To wrap it up, what's your opening calls? What's it like?
Well, like I said earlier, all eyes on the DMO bond auction today. 155 billion is on offer. We have a maturity of an OMO auction tomorrow, about 400 billion. So the system by tomorrow will be up on almost 1 trillion. We expect that all eyes will be on the bond auction today. There's going to be a lot of surge, and then we expect moderation in rates across the curve. And then going to the T-bill space, we'll see short-term reinvestment play where fund managers and investors try to play on the short end of the curve of the T-bill curve to try and invest their funds at 8%, which is currently trading at.
Very interesting. Any idea whether the central bank will throw in any primary market auction as we see this high level of liquidity?
What we expect from them, the central bank, is an OMO auction tomorrow. We have a maturity of about 400 billion coming to the system from the OMO auction. So we expect that the central bank will come and try and manage liquidity in the system by offering OMO auction. We'll expect that we're going to see a lot of interest from banks and then foreign investors, which are permissible to engage in the auction as well.
A very busy week for you guys. All as we all count down to monetary policy meeting of the central bank, two-day meeting starting tomorrow. Thank you so much, Chioma Udu from GT Bank. We appreciate your time coming through from FMDQ Exchange Place in downtown Lagos. Have a great day, Chioma, and see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we finished off Tuesday trading day at the Nigerian Stock Exchange with the new president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tokima Bogunje, doing the closing gong. You can see her there with the top officials of the chamber. It's the oldest chamber of commerce in Nigeria, set up around 1800. And he was there with other top officials and spoke on why it's very important to have this partnership with the Nigerian Stock Exchange to maintain business ethics, among other things. Let's take a listen to a very short speech to the market community on the trading floor.
What I want to do is to quickly felicitate with all of you on the rallying that's been going on this month of January and the improvements in the market. 10%, like I say, is no joke. And I think that you have all worked very hard to deserve this. And I was also saying that my prayer is that we may be able to sustain it. So we've actually gone from being the worst performing bourse to being ahead of the pack. Let us remain champions on the market. Let us remain champions.
So Kima Gogunje, the president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry at the trading floor. Yesterday, we're taking off the market this morning on a very positive note. We're just about 0.1%, but let's give you a quick reminder of where we finished off on Tuesday. The market pulled back about 0.83%. That's the stock market. We're still unable to get that hold on 30,000, which we were all chasing towards the end of last year. We managed to get 29,000 back. And since the new year started, we have been very close, so close to 30,000, but we're not yet able to hold that down. And the market is trying very strongly to hold to the new 15 trillion naira level that it got when Boa Cement listed in the new week of the new year. So that's where the market is right now. So we're still within the 29,000 level. The market is looking for a breakout on that. Any major, Philip, we could see that maybe by the earnings season, which we're expecting from the first week of March or so. In terms of trading day, that's your daily market numbers, just a bit consistent with our daily average. Pull that away and look at the banking sector where investors have invested 3.58% on the big stocks yesterday. Consumer goods was grain. Insurance sidestepped their bigger cousins by about 0.75%. Oil and gas came in 0.3%, largely on the back of Owando. Yes, Owando shares was up yesterday. Just take me to the Nigerian energy market. You can see Owando finishing 360 on the counters yesterday, up 2.27%. That gave the oil sector that. And in terms of volume, that was quite a very big one. 18.2 million shares of the company to the upside. At the NESD over-the-counter, the NSI index was also in the water by 0.14%, but holding the market cap steady above the 500 billion naira level. And of course, at the fixed income, you heard a bit of a breakdown of that earlier from Chioma Udu from GT Bank. But in terms of the most actively traded bond, NTB, and open market, all of that is coming through. We did 7.24 billion on the naira bonds. That's it there for you. The April 2049, one of the longest dated, got 8 deals of 1 billion. The NTB yields were around 4%, you can see that. And then the open market operations, 156 billion naira. Today is the debt management auctions naira bond for the month of January 2020. We'll bring you all the results tomorrow when we return at 10 o'clock in the morning here on Business Morning. I'll see you then. Have a great day, everyone. And goodbye from Lagos.